Alright, so our print started. We had our white move in the front. Now it's doing the outlines. So I'm doing 3 outlines. I found that works the best for a combination of making sure it's flowing smoothly before I do the real thing, and also making sure my bed leveling looks good, so it's not, it's actually adhering to the bed at all areas around. And also, once you take it off, you have 3 layers and they stick together, then you can be pretty sure that then when you take it off, it's much easier to get it off because they're sticking together. I'll show you that later. So we have a good bed leveling. All the different sides look like they're adhering. So I think it's going to be a successful print. So now it's doing the credits themselves, and I'll show you what they look like at the end after I'm all done with this. The other thing I'll show you is how I'm printing with the closure. So 63 degrees Fahrenheit here in the garage. So I've always been printing with the door closed. If it's above 60, I leave the top on, but just has a cracks open so some of the heat can. Early in the morning when I'm printing, it's below 60. I keep the top all the way pushed down, or I'm saying lower than that. If it gets above 70, then I leave the top off, but I always leave the door closed just to keep this area consistently with the same temperature. So this particular printer has fans on the back that will exhaust heat out, and it gets sucked in from the side through these vents. So that'll help maintain the temperature inside the enclosure to a consistent, I think, 50 degrees. I'm going to get exactly what it tries to keep it at, but it keeps it at a nice even temperature so you get better prints. Alright, so this print is done. So we're going to put the preheat on. We're just going to preheat the print head because we want to pull the filament out. We want the print bed to cool down. So let me get this set up, and then I'll show you how I process the system after the print is done. Alright, so I put on this little portable fan. So we want the print bed to cool down to about 40 degrees C, while keeping the print head hot so we can pull the filament out. So that's our goal right now. So I'm going to go ahead and unload on the filament. Alright, so I got a pretty good pull on the filament, so that's good. I said before we were running 225 on the print head, just like we do when we print on the regular print bed. So I did go through higher temperatures trying to overcome extrusion issues with the 0.2mm nozzle, but the real problem was I was printing too long. So you can see here we only printed 4 of these credits at once. So we're keeping our prints down to about 5 hours or so total, so that we can clean the print head out between runs. I tried running a lot more at once. I said, oh boy, it's working, I'm going to print a bunch at once, but after about 5 hours, the 0.2mm nozzles just couldn't handle extruding that long. So anyway, live and learn. I spared you all the gory details, all the trials and mostly errors. Alright, so we get this filament. We're going to do another print after this, so we're going to get the filament ready to go for that. So extract it part way. Then we're going to take the print head apart and use the pusher rod to get it out. We'll go back to the preheat page so we can see the print surface is down to 47 degrees. So that's pretty good. So while we're doing this, it's cooling down. So we're doing 2 things at once. Try to keep the productivity up. So we unscrew these screws like always. And use this push rod to push the filament out. I don't want to push it on top of the glass, so I'll push it out over here. So it usually just hangs below the print head, below the nozzle. So I rotate you probably can't see that. So after I put it in, I rotate it around. That helps stick some of the filament that's still in the heat break tube to the rod. So I use my tweezers to get the bottom off, and then I pull this out slowly, and you can see there's filament on that rod. So we'll use the spatula to scrape it off. So you have about 5 seconds to scrape it off before it gets too hard and it's hard to get off. So as long as you do it within about 5 seconds, this gets it off easily. We do that at least once more. Usually I do it twice more. So push it down in there, spin it around. Don't push up and down, because I found I actually eroded the heat break tube at one time. I was doing that before. So a little bit more will come out of the bottom. Most of it comes out the first time, so then get that off. And we still got some filament on there, so we'll scrape it off. Yeah, I'll try one more time. I think I got most of it off, but yeah, so there's not much left on there. Okay, so now we're going to use our needles. We have our 2mm needle, our 0.2mm needles. So those go down in. They're a little tricky to get in there, but go down in there. I push it all the way down so it goes out the bottom. Probably can't see it, but it's sticking out the bottom of the nozzle. And I spin it around a little bit and then pull it out. And we usually get a little bit of filament stuck to the needle, but not much. So this is pretty clean. This is really high quality filament, so it doesn't, it performs really well, a little bit better than the other kind I'm using. So really happy with this. Arioni. Not sure how to pronounce it. All right, so now we're going to put the print head back together. Ready for the next print. So you can see we didn't unplug anything. We didn't unplug the motor. We didn't unplug the fan. We don't care if it keeps running. Just make sure you don't stick this Allen wrench in the fan. Done that a few times. And even though this is at 225 degrees C, at the top here by the motor, it's not that hot, so you can hold on to it. It's just down at the bottom that it's super hot. All right, let's tighten up. Now we're going to use our brass brush. There's a link to this in the show notes. Oh, actually, the replacement for this one. So let me get a little residual filament off the bottom, so now it's nice again. Push this to the back. So now we're ready to take the print bed out and get off these wipes. Let's take a look at these wipes. So here's the first wipe move that Simplified 3D does. So you got to make sure your clips are not interfering with this wipe move. I have a second wipe move on this print, so it comes over here. So I made sure I missed this one. Alright, so we'll get those off. Okay, I just take those off now. It's easier to do it right now. They don't stick that well, so. Remove our binder clips. So the print bed is cooling down, so there's no problem holding on to it, touching it. Alright, so we can turn off the fan now. And the print bed says 39 over here, but if we use our temperature thingy here, it's only about 37 on top here. So this, I use this a lot. I showed you this earlier. So. Alright, so I'm going to take this out and we're going to put it over on the tray, and then I'll show you what I do over there. Here's our tray that I showed you before. So I have a nice old t-shirt here. It's a tie-dye t-shirt. To keep the glass from getting scratched, it's a metal tray, so it can suck out heat. And then we're going to pop this in the freezer for 15 minutes, and then take it out and let it come back to room temperature. And then these credits will come right off, hopefully. All right, so here's our freezer as a drawer. And we're just going to put this in here, lay it on top of all the rest of the food. There's enough room in there. Close it up. Now our freezer can go down to minus 14 degrees. And there's a thing called turbo freeze. Hold this down. It cools it down extra, so it's at minus 2 now, so we usually leave it at. It cools it down much quicker. So now we'll set our timer, our annoying timer, for 15 minutes. Oops, not 14. Try 10 minutes. 10 minutes can work, but consistently 15 minutes works. So rather than take it out, I have to put it back in. I just set it on 15 minutes. So we'll come back in 15 minutes, take it out, let it come up to room temperature, and then hopefully those credits will come right off the glass. All right, it's been 15 minutes. So let's pull this out. Get over here in the sink, and then we're going to let it come to room temperature for about 5 minutes. So usually I raise this up on one lip here so it gets air underneath it to cool down faster. Because the metal tray underneath is still really cold, so I want at least some air circulation. So we'll set our timer for 5 minutes, and we'll come back and see if they come on. All right, it's been actually about 10 minutes because I got distracted by something. So the temperature of the bed now, the glass is about 16 degrees. So basically room temperature. We'll see if these come off. This came right off. You can see bottom has a mirror finish, and you can read the lettering, and the top looks good. So these come off. Yeah, so it all came off super easy. I did a really good job of bed leveling. If you are too tight with your bed leveling, then the first layer gets squished too much. It sticks to the glass, and it's really hard to get off. So in that case, what I've used is isopropyl alcohol. So I poured some of that along so it got along under the edges of it and kind of soaked under it, and then put it back in the freezer for another 15 minutes. And I was able to get most of it off successfully. So I was still able to save that particular credit, but it's better if you just do the bed leveling like I showed you before. That's what worked for me anyway. You have to figure out your own system. But I just need to get this outline off. So there's their outline, just a close up of it. It's hard to see the glare here, I guess. But I use 3 outlines, so that way when it comes to take it off, it's sticking together. It's easy to get off. If you just use one, then number one, you're not doing as well as making sure the flow is smooth. But the other thing is, when you take it off, it's hard to keep it together. So because it comes up when you do 3, it comes off really easy. Like this is what I'm trying to get at. So all right, so we're going to wash this up and do another print this afternoon, and there we go. So there's our credits, and once I stop this, I'll show you all the different credits I've made using this system. And there's a link to these in the show notes if you want to take a look at them on my Etsy store. All right, here's what all that glass and 0.2mm nozzle was all about. So I printed these Star Wars coins, or they're called credits actually, for sale on my Etsy store. I need to have details on top and bottom, and the 0.2mm nozzle delivered on both, and the glass print surface I was able to make the bottom work. So. All right, that's the rebel symbol, and the 7 here with the lines on it is the currency symbol for Star Wars. So that was it. Successful project. I think I said, maybe I don't remember if I said it on camera or not, but I'm not going to be using glass except for this kind of project where I need the super high detail on the bottom. It's just too much trouble. The 0.2mm nozzle is a lot of trouble. Can't do long prints with it. And the glass is a pain to use. You have to clean it all the time, and you have to use those clips, so you can't print near the edges. So. But for this project, it was a necessity, and I'm happy the way it turned out. So I'll have a link to these credits in my in the show description. You can find them on my Etsy store.
If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Post a comment if you have any questions or ideas, and I'll try to respond. That's all for now, but more videos are coming, and if you want to see them, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification icon if you don't want to miss one. This is Beta Cygni signing out, and keep looking up.